Hello, and welcome to another episode of The End of the Search. This one I call it Life Only Gets Rid of Leftovers. Okay, what do I mean by that? First of all, remember these videos always point to the fact that you are. It's not about fixing the character. It's not about changing our illusions for a better ones or anything like that. This is about never lose sight of the fact that I am. And that I amness is what remains always, in spite of what may be happening around us, in spite of any thoughts that may appear, in spite of any sensations. I am, and resting in that I am, there is a sense of peace, or there is peace. There is openness. There's happiness. Because there's no distraction with the content of the mind, even when we live in the world as quote-unquote normal people, but we respond to it differently because, again, the mind's interpretation is no longer a distraction. Now, within this context, I would like to address this issue because one thing I've known, or I've seen, or I've experienced, to be very honest, is that life never takes away what I need. It never did. But it did take away any leftover. What I mean by that is that when we begin to become conscious of what we are, this whole world of appearances is a distraction. And really what we want is to be happy, to be free, to be at peace. At the core, that's what every single human being wants. Because the experience of being a human being is an experience of contraction, limitation, you see? But our essence is freedom. Because it's beyond words. And we want to live in that permanency of the nature of our being. But because we believe to be a separate entity, consequently feeling limited by that concept, well, that lack that we experience, which is illusory, but it seems to be real for a seeming human being, is trying to be fulfilled with pursuing things, going after things, chasing things, you see? That is why, in a sense, it's like what you need is one thing and what you want is another. But life will always give you what you need, and then once all this, let's say, ego mind, put it this way, all these concepts, ideas of what I thought I wanted, begins to wither away because I'm resting more and more in the beingness that I am, then I come to the recognition or the realization that what I need and what I want are exactly the same. Because what we truly want is to feel again fulfilled. And fulfillment does not come as a result of pursuing anything of this world, because everything in this world is temporary. But what we're looking for is the permanency of this space-like freedom, peace that we are, you see? So, on this journey of self-discovery, if you want to use that word, life takes away all the stuff that I thought I wanted because I was not aware that I was wanting it because I was feeling incomplete. And life is trying to show me that I am already perfect, whole, and complete, just as I am, not as I think I am. You see? So in that sense, we find ourselves in this world of experience. The things that we thought we wanted, for some reason I cannot have them. What's going on? Is life against me? Not. Life never against itself, because you and life are one and the same. Life is trying to show you that you are already all that you can possibly imagine. It's not that you need to get stuff or things in order to become, it's that you already are. That's why when it says, seek you first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all of the things will be added on to you, is pointing to the fact that wholeness is what you are, so you don't need anything but anything that is necessary for this seeming individual, if you want to call it that way, or this aspect of totality is provided. That's why I love the quote also from the Bible, look at the birds in the sky. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father takes care of them. Aren't you more important than they are? Well, this is very obvious if we just drop all the things that we think we need in order to be happy, or the things that we think we want in order to be happy and at peace. You see? Then the recognition is obvious. You always have what you have, not what you think you need to have in order to be happy or at peace or quote-unquote secure. So one of the things that do happen in this journey, or at least this is my experience, is that I notice that there's a difference between surrendering and giving up. Okay? Surrendering in a true sense, which is a relaxation into what is, surrendering carries the fragrance of trust. You see? So when you surrender, there's trust. You're free. You're at peace. You're happy. Giving up, on the other hand, carries the odor, put it this way, or the smell of resignation. You see? Giving up is like, okay, well, what can I do? I've been, fighting for so long. I've been struggling for so long, and it's not happening. So, okay, I give up. You see? But in reality, the fighting and the struggle is because you're trying to go against the current. See, life is a flow. If you get away, if you get out of the way all the thoughts and the ideas of what you think you want or how life should be, I'm not saying the thoughts could not be there, but they're seen, you see. Like, for example, I don't have any goals or any ambitions or anything like that. My life is completely summed up in this moment. This is all that there is. And because there's a trust that life is and that I am life, I just know that whatever happens is what needs to be happening. So to me, it's very simple. You see, there's a relaxation in that. So when there's a surrender, because I know that there's nothing in this world that can satisfy me or give me anything that is permanent. Yeah, it can give me pleasure temporarily, but never give me anything that is permanent. It doesn't have anything to offer. And I know that, and at the same time I trust, because life is, and what matters to me most is inner peace rather than acquisitions. Well, I can rest in that space and see how life unfolds. In that surrender, there's no apathy, there's no resignation, there's trust, and there's a relaxation, you see? But if I would try to pursue things, what life is trying to force me to give up, so to speak, so that I can turn that into surrender, so I can experience the inner peace that is there always, no matter what. You see? So in that sense, life, what it's doing, it says, okay, you want to be happy? Yes. You want to be at peace? Yes. The problem is that you think, I'm not saying you personally, but it's just the way words are coming out, is that people think mostly that they will be happy once they achieve something, once they get something, once they have something, you see, once things go the way they think they should. And that never brings happiness, because as you and I already know, if you have lived long enough, things never go the way we think they should. And sometimes it appears as they do, but it's just only temporarily, because life is a constant flow of change. And we make plans, and life throws a tsunami and says, well, the plans go out the window. And the attachment to all the things, you see, is what doesn't allow us to trust the journey that is unfolding organically anyway. So what is interesting is that when we come to this recognition, we realize that everything in this world is a leftover. Everything. There's nothing here that is not left over, because what we are is not of this world, you see. Now many people may not want to hear that. Yeah, but I mean, what do you mean everything here is just is left over? Because everything here is temporary. This is the point. But what you're seeking is already what you are, which is permanent. So if you don't identify with the content of the mind, with all the things that it claims that it wants and everything, there's nothing wrong with seeing those things happening, and there's nothing wrong with observing how maybe you feel inspired to pursue something. In other words, if you feel the desire to do something, you don't say, okay, this desire is not good because I'm going against life. No, you're going with life because the desire is there. The only thing is that there's not an attachment to any kind of result. I may have the desire to move in a particular direction. Okay, I see the desire happening. I see myself, or I should say how life is moving me to go in that direction. But in no time, in no moment, I am attached to the result. Meaning that I would like to go to point A, and I am happily enjoying moving towards point A. But if halfway through life decide that point A is not going to happen, I am okay with that. I just enjoy the process itself up to half to point A. You see? That's why, again, I don't have any goals, I don't have any ambitions, because I am happy in that sense. I'm at peace because I am happy and at peace with what is. Now, if life wants me to do something, I see myself doing it, but it will not seem forced. It will not be forced. It will be very organically, very natural. If life wants me to write a song, I write a song. But it's not because I want to be a star. If life wants me to write a book, I write a book. But it's not because I want to be a published author or anything. If life wants to me do a video, I'll do a video. But it's not because I'm trying to get recognition or notoriety. It's just simply what happens through this instrument very organically, in accordance to life plans for me. But in the end, all that there is this present moment experience, and that's it. There's nothing else. And if I don't identify with the content of the mind, this moment is perfect as it is. It could not be any better, in spite of what may be happening. Because again, some people say, yeah, it's comfortable because you feel this way, or you have this, or no. I don't need to have anything, and I don't have to feel in any particular way. That's why the video that I did from the hospital, which I suggest you watch it, I'll put the link on the description. It was perfect example of showing that, look, here I am in a hospital after an operation with all these tubes and everything, and I would not change this experience for anything, because this is what is happening. And if it's what is happening, that is the best thing that life may have for me. And then after that, I have to carry certain things that they were uncomfortable for a while. Okay, it was uncomfortable. I remember one night at 2 o'clock in the morning, there's somebody who was staying here with me, kind of helping me for the first few days. Not that I really needed it, but it was good to have it because, for example, at 2 o'clock in the morning, I had to go to the emergency room. And I went and I was watching the journey unfold. No, I mean to the hospital is what I mean, because I think it's called the catheter or something like that, which is what I had to have for a couple of, about 6 weeks. It was not fun, But it was just part of the journey, part of what was going on. Yes, my preference is not to have it. I'm glad that I don't. But what I mean is that while it was happening, that is what was happening. And that's it. That's life. You see? And you may say, yeah, but what if you were dealing with heavy pain or something? These are hypothetical questions that we don't need to go there. But if for some reason someone is dealing with a very heavy, painful experience, well, I trust at least that if I am not resisting it, I will not be suffering it. And also I trust that life will find a way to inspire the instrument to do something in order to alleviate the pain, but that will not be suffering. I have seen it with people who are in the last stages of their life where they seem to be dealing with pain, but they are not suffering at all, because they're not trying to hold on to anything. They're just surrender completely to what is. That's the surrender I'm pointing to. That surrender carries the fragrance of trust, and you're happy, you're at peace. Okay? And if something needs to be done, life is doing it through you anyway. But the psychological suffering is when we are hanging on tightly to something and it's not happening, and then that's when we go into the giving up. And interestingly enough, usually, doesn't have to be this way, but usually the giving up seems to be the first or the early stage before we're ready to truly surrender. You see? First, we're trying to eat the world, we're trying to conquer and everything, but when finally things don't seem to go our way, there's a surrender that can turn into apathy, and to some people can turn into finding ways to alleviate that pain. Self-medication, for example, in whichever form may take. Or there are others that after so much self-medication and after everything you can possibly imagine to avoid and to run away from the pain, finally surrender to a place that I said, I don't know, thy will is done, do what you want to do with me. And then in that moment they begin to experience this, this sweetness of peace that is underneath, because I don't even have the strength to pursue anything, and I don't care. I just want to, in a way, what they're saying, I just want to die. And technically speaking, yes, what he wants to die is the false sense of self. You see? That's what he wants to die. It's not that the body's going to die. The body's not even here. But within the context of this seeming illusory experience, well, yeah, something in us wants to die. The false sense of identity. That's why I believe, I think the actor Jim Carrey talks beautiful about depression. He said, when I was going through depression, it's like the body's saying, F you, I don't want to keep playing this role anymore. You see? So you go into very deep rest where you say, I cannot do this anymore. And then when you go through that, you realize, oh my God, there's a peace that has been there the whole time, and I could not see it because I was too busy pursuing the ideas that the mind keeps conjuring up, because the mind is trying to hold on to a false sense of identity. And you may have the pleasurable experiences, but the counterpart is that you have to deal with the other ones too. Our late singer Ozzy Osbourne, when his wife was talking about him, she said the problem is that he has very big highs, but every big high is followed by a huge low, because that is life. That is the human experience. Life is eternal. Life is. Life is. I am, God is, love is, life is. Not a problem. The space is unmoved. But the experience of being a separate entity is constantly changing, and that's why it has a birth and it has a death. And in between the two is a constant flow between pain and pleasure. That is the human experience. That's the price we have to pay if we want to hold on to the sense of identity. However, while the human experience seems to be taking place, there is a way of living in the world that is not of it. That's the invitation with these videos. That's why we're not trying to change anything. We're not trying to fix anything. We're not trying to become anything. No. We're just pointing to the obvious so you can begin to live in the world with a mentality that is not of it, and that can be experienced right now. This is not going to happen in the future. This is not something you have to practice for years and years to. No, right now. And we're going to put it to the test. We'll do it in every video. So if you have seen these videos also, you know where we're going, where we're heading to. So let's put it to the test right now. right now. Don't identify with any thoughts. I didn't say the thoughts will not be there. They will be there, and probably for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter. Don't believe them. It doesn't matter. The thought, I want this shouldn't be like this, or this. No, no, no. Don't believe any thoughts. Just be. Just rest in beingness. That's it. Right now. Don't believe any thoughts. Just let them be. But don't believe, don't attach yourself to them. Don't believe any thoughts. Don't identify with any of them. And from direct experiencing right now, not from theory, because if it's theoretical, you're still in the mind. Right now. This is the surrender I'm pointing to, by the way. Right now. If you don't identify with any thoughts, if you don't believe any thoughts, what remains? Don't answer. If you answer, you miss the mark. Because many times the mind still wants to try to hold on to some kind of a concept. I feel peace. I feel tranquility. No, you don't. I don't want to hear any answer. I'm just pointing to the obvious. Right now, if you don't believe any thoughts, if you don't identify with any thoughts, even the thoughts of any, doesn't matter. Yeah, I was going to say even the wanting hang on to something. No, because that is a thought. Again, just be. What remains? What is left? You see? Now, that which remains, it's always there. It doesn't go anywhere. It just happens to be overlooked by the mind's identification with a thought. And the mind is a thought itself, by the way. You see? So you're always there. You are never not there. It just so happens that we're so used to identify with the content of the mind that we seem to have left this space but you never leave that. You're always there. When you're dreaming at night, you're always in bed. You will always be in bed no matter what. It just so happens that while you're dreaming, you're distracted, but you're still in bed. Well, right now, you are. That's it. You're not anywhere because you're everything. You're all of it. You're just what is. But with the thought, me, individual, separate individual, then a lot of other thoughts are tagging along with that. I'm good and bad, ugly, pretty, whatever, successful, unsuccessful, deserving, not deserving. And on top of that, I want this, I want that, I don't want this. All of that has to attach to something, but you're not a thing, you simply are. Now the question is, do you really want that recognition? And most people don't. Most people say, I want peace only when they find themselves suffering. Because they feel that if they rest in this peace that I'm talking, well, not even, let's not call it peace. They feel that when they rest in beingness, they think they're giving something up, they're sacrificing something, and this is the challenge, that you're not sacrificing anything. You're just giving up the suffering, you're just giving up the pain, well, not the pain, I mean the pain and pleasure is part of the human experience. But you're giving up all this confusion, all the fear, you see? And then again, life gets rid of all the leftovers, which at the beginning, when there's attachment, it seems to be very painful, but really life is trying to teach you a lesson. It's trying to get you to this space, so you don't have to lose anything, because you never had anything anyway, but you don't have to sacrifice anything. Literally, life is saying, look, right now, if you catch what we're saying here, you can still have the family, you can still have the money, whatever you have, you can still have the job that you enjoy, you can still have the hobbies that you can still have all the stuff you already have, but there's no attachment to any of it, because now you're resting in beingness and you recognize that. What does it mean? That if life takes away any of those things, your beingness is not disturbed at all. And to use a language of this seeming experience, your peace is not disturbed. That's what is referred to as the peace that surpasses all understanding. But you have to want that more than anything else. And the paradox here is that you're not going to want it because I'm saying this. If it's supposed to happen through you, you'll find yourself wanting it. So you don't have to be concerned about thinking, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. What if I don't want it? I mean, no, don't worry about it. These videos are showing up in your life, whether the information comes through this instrument or any other, it doesn't matter. They're showing up in your life because maybe on a much deeper level, now there's a part of that consciousness that is using you as an instrument to remember what it is. So in a sense, you can celebrate. If you're listening to this information, even if you're the early stages and you're still pursuing and chasing things, but you're becoming conscious, that is enough. The seed has been planted. So Nisargadatta Maharaj used to say that the seed has been planted, so you continue, you live your life and you see how this seed continue to grow, and the desire for truth becomes more important in a gradual format, or in a gradual basis. So the fact that you're here right now listening to this, that implies that there's a part of you that is beginning to awaken into the truth of what it is. It's not going to happen in the future because you already are, but because there's still the strong identification, you're going to have to trust the process now. Because this process, which is not a process anyway, but I don't know what words can we use, is leading you nowhere because you're already here, but we have to use these words. In seeming space and time is leading you to the recognition that you are. So the end, it's the peace that passes all understanding, and you're happy. And the invitation is that you can be happy right now because you already are. That's what we're pointing to this right now. If you don't identify with any thoughts, what remains? You see? Just notice. Life is. That's it. This is it. No goals, nor ambitions, nor things, nothing. Just this is it. And if you're supposed to be doing something, just trust that life will move you to do something. But you're seeing life unfolding. You see, now you take all the pressure off. The surrender carries the sweetness of trust, and now you don't know what you want because we never did anyway. And then you just see how life moves, that unfolds, and then life is full of surprises. You feel the inspiration to do something. You find yourself doing it. You don't know why, but that's something you find yourself doing it. You see how the scenes begin to present themselves to give you an opportunity to see if there's still the mind distracted, so you can really, oh my God, look how before I used to react this way, and now just seeing through, oh my God, and then you begin to rest more and more in that peace that we're pointing to, and you realize that you've always been that. That's why you're not going to get anything in the future. There's no future here. There's just right this moment, either distracted or not distracted, that's all. And if you right now get what we're pointing to here, living from that a beingness or whatever, well, I got news for you. That is the rest of your life. See? No matter what the scenes present themselves, now you are that beingness, which is, I don't know, I don't want to use any words because the mind associates pleasure with happiness, and peace with a particular state, but that beingness is what you are, and that's how you will live for the rest of your life as the body goes through changes and everything seems to go through changes. And you have available right now. Right now, this is it. This is it. That's it. There's nothing else. Can you see? Can you feel? See, the words are limiting. You don't feel anything. You don't see anything. But within the context in which we appear to be, you see, this is it. This is the great mystery that the mind is trying to convert it into something special. No. This is it. With the toothache or without the toothache. And if there's toothaches, you find yourself going to a dentist. And then the toothache is gone. And you're still being. And then life presents another scenario. You're still being. And no matter what, you're always being. And beingness gives you an opportunity to see that the happiness and everything that you've been searching for is what you are. And now you can understand that all the stuff that you thought you wanted so much and life took away from you is because life was trying to give you the opportunity to experience yourself as alive, so you can see the peace, the happiness, the joy that is permanent, that is not temporary by the things that we were pursuing, assuming that they can complete us when you are completeness itself. And that is how you see that life was never punishing you. Life very kindly was getting rid of the leftovers, where you can experience directly what you've always been. And now all the things that life seems to have taken away, you can see the blessing in that. And what is funny is that it only took away the leftovers. It never took away what you needed. And yes, once you know that you are always taken care of because you are alive, if in your journey there's certain pleasures and things that you can enjoy, sure, why not? Not a big deal, but you're not attached to any of it. You see, there's no attachment. It's the opportunity to experience that moment, and that's it. And then when the moment is gone, you continue on being because you simply are. Okay, this is the inspiration that came through. I hope it served. And as always, may peace permeate the mind so that love can be extended.